let's get ready. Emotionally, mentally, and physically unwell edition. I don't know what was in the air this week, but I have not been well. I don't think I am. I very rarely get sick. I actually can't remember the last time I was sick. Let me just knock on wood. I actually think I'm the person in my family who gets sick the least. I think I'm also the person of all my friends who gets sick the least. Genuinely can't remember the last time I got sick, so I'm sure I'm fine. Okay, I'm not gonna keep you guys waiting. I know you guys are wanting an update on the date situation because I know I responded to some of your comments saying that I think we're not going to be speaking again. Genuinely, he was a really nice guy. We had a lot of things in common and we were looking for something very similar, but unfortunately, that is just not a substitute for having chemistry with somebody. You know, out of respect for the fact that this is a person who, you know, does not post themselves online, I don't want to talk about like the specific things of like why he's just not my person. Again, I know I open myself up to this kind of criticism because I post this kind of stuff online, and I know a lot of people will say things like, how can you really know it wasn't your person if you didn't meet in person? But I think most people will get it, like, you just know. I truly know that most people mean well when they leave me comments about this kind of stuff and tell me, like, their viewpoints and maybe I should think about things in a different way, and I do appreciate that. I will also say I think I'm a lot more self-aware than you guys give me credit for sometimes. Just to be real, it's honestly very hard sometimes to be open on social media about this kind of stuff because you know, you think people are on your side, but then as soon as it's convenient, people throw things back in your face that you said. For example, I was very open about my journey with therapy and how I did therapy for a really long time because I had a lot of issues with having a very avoidant attachment style and I wanted to work on that. And I mean, I know you guys don't know me in person, but I think all of my friends will tell you I've worked so hard to become more vulnerable and be more comfortable with that. And it's something that I'm very proud of myself for. But then of course, I mentioned a date that I go on that I've decided that it's not gonna work out and people throw it in my face like, oh, it's your avoidant attachment style. Like, you don't really know what you want, you need to give it a chance, and they basically are trying to tell me how I feel. And I'm so used to those comments at this point, I just let it. But anyways, enough about that because I know that the majority of you guys, the vast majority of you guys who've been following me for years at this point, have my best interest at heart and you just want me to be happy, and you know, you just have to trust that I know what I'm looking for. Anyways, I'm getting ready because I'm going to see a movie actually. I'm going to dinner and a movie with a friend. I'm pretty sure I told you guys about this last year, but so last year when the first part of the Wicked movie came out, I got invited to this early premiere of it in Atlanta, and there was like this Wicked themed cocktail hour beforehand. It was so much fun, and I've been waiting an entire year to see if I was going to get invited to the same thing for the second part, and I did, and that's next week. But then randomly this week, I also got invited to see an early screening of a different movie, which I'm not like a huge movie watcher. Like, I do love to go see a movie, but I wasn't gonna go. But I have a friend who she's told me a couple times that she does love to go see movies. She'll even go by herself sometimes, which breaks my heart because it sounds like me. Like, I do a lot of things by myself. But anyways, I thought of her, so we're gonna go see it together. So yeah, I'm excited. It'll be something fun to do. It's honestly been a very emotionally draining week for me. I feel like I know so many people that have been sick the last few weeks, so I'm just like waiting for it to hit me. I generally am one of those people who just like doesn't really get sick. I say that now, please God. But then when I do get sick, like I really get sick. I can't remember if this happened before I started social media. I think it did, but it was the weirdest thing. I was working just on a Friday afternoon, just working on my computer at home, and I started all of a sudden feeling like really dizzy when I would turn and look at the different monitors I was working on. Now, keep in mind, at this time, I had never experienced vertigo or dizziness before, and I hate to admit this because it sounds so awful, but I genuinely thought when people were saying like, oh, I feel dizzy, I thought they were being dramatic. But I really do think God allowed that experience to kind of humble me and give me more empathy for people because, oh my gosh, within the span of like 15 minutes, I was no longer able to function. Like, I was so dizzy to the point where I couldn't move. I was still living at home at the time, so my parents were so concerned. And my mom ended up taking me to the urgent care, and they were like, what is going on with this girl? Like, I couldn't walk in a straight line. I was falling over the place. And then the weirdest part about having like vertigo or dizziness like that is that you don't necessarily look for, well, I didn't feel nauseous, but I would just randomly throw up. Like, it was the weirdest thing. I didn't feel nauseous at all. It would just like come out. So anyways, it was terrible. And I had heard of this happening where like a crystal comes loose or like gets out of place. And I thought I would just go to the specialist and they would like adjust something and I'd be fine. But it turns out what I had was actually triggered by a sinus infection that I never got treated, is what they think. So basically there wasn't really a quick fix. I had to do physical therapy for a few weeks. I think I had to miss work for like, I think it was almost 3 weeks because I physically couldn't do anything. Like, I had to lay down with my eyes shut. Even just opening my eyes to look at the TV made me too dizzy. I couldn't function. It was very interesting though, because in my physical therapy, one of the things they used to help me, I mean, obviously there's like physical exercises that you do, but there's also like acupuncture points they used. So I had to do that for I think like a month and a half before I felt like 80% back to normal. And apparently they told me that I do have like some permanent like hearing loss from it, which I don't notice it, but more you know. So all that being said, I don't get sick often, but when I do, I really truly make an occasion out of it, as it turns out. It's truly the most random thing though, because ever since then, I've never had anything similar happen. And I do think I have like PTSD from it, because every now and then I'll like turn really quickly to look at something. It'll like trigger the memories in my mind and I'll be like, oh my God, it's happening again. I have a coworker who does actually deal with vertigo like on a pretty regular basis, and I have so much more empathy for him now. Power of makeup, truly. I feel like I looked so unwell at the start of this video. I'm gonna use this for my lips. This is the Too Faced Cloud Crush. It's a lip and cheek color. This is the shade Hopeful Romantic. I've definitely talked about these before. I really like these. They're a very whipped consistency, so the title is very fitting. I haven't really been into lip liner the last couple of months. I just prefer a much more like blurred, like natural wash of color recently. So I don't know if this sounds weird, but I feel like I naturally just have like larger lips and larger teeth. And I sometimes feel like when I do lip liner, it makes my teeth and my lips look too big. Don't get me wrong, I like my lips and my teeth, but I don't need them to be even bigger. I still get a lot of questions about my lips and my teeth, actually. I get a lot of questions, people asking me if my teeth are veneers, and they're not. And I have never had lip filler. Not opposed to it, just don't really feel like I want it. For my gloss, I'm gonna do one of these Lip Injection Maximum Plumps from Too Faced. I think this is a newer formula because these don't like burn your lips as much as the old ones did. They have a bunch of different colors, but this one is called Magical Crystal. It's just like an iridescent pinky color. Let's see. Me as I'm talking about how I don't want lip filler, let me just put this Maximum Plump lip gloss on. All right, that's the final makeup for tonight. I will see you girls in my next one. Bye.